And Adonai said to Moshe, Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, so that I show these signs of mine before him, and that you relate in the hearing of your son and your son's son what I have done in Mitzrayim, and my signs which I have done among them, and you shall know that I am Adonai. And Moshe and Aaron came into Pharaoh and said to him, Thus said Adonai, Elohim of the Hebrews, Till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, so that they serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders, and they shall cover the surface of the land, so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped, which remains to you from all the hail. And they shall eat every single tree which grows up for you out of the field. And they shall fill your houses, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all of Mitzrayim, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were on the earth to this day. Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh, and Pharaoh's servants said to him, Till when would this one be a slave to us? Let the men go, so that they serve Adonai the Elohim. Do you not yet know that Mitzrayim is destroyed? And Moshe and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Adonai your Elohim. Who are the ones that are going? And Moshe said, We are going with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flock and our herds. We are going, for we have a festival to Adonai. And he said to them, Let Adonai be with you, as I let you and your little ones go. Watch, for evil is before your face. Not so. You men go now, and serve Adonai, for that is what you desired. And they were driven out of the presence of Pharaoh. And Adonai said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand over the land of Mitzrayim, for the locusts to come upon the land of Mitzrayim, and eat every plant of the land, all that the hail has left. And Moshe stretched out his rod over the land of Mitzrayim, and Adonai brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Mitzrayim, and settled within all the borders of Mitzrayim, very grievous. There had never been locusts like them before, nor would there ever again be like them. And they covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every plant of the land and all the fruit of the trees, which the hail had left, and no greenness was left on the trees, or on the plants of the field, in all the land of Mitzrayim. Pharaoh then called Moshe and Aaron in haste, and said, I have sinned against Adonai your Elohim, and against you, and now, please forgive my sin only this once, and pray to Adonai your Elohim that he would only turn away his death from me. And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Adonai. And Adonai turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away, and blew them into the sea of reeds. Not one locust was left within the borders of Mitzrayim. However, Adonai strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And Adonai said to Moshe, Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, and let there be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, even a darkness which is felt. And Moshe stretched out his hand toward the heavens, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mitzrayim for 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and said, Go serve Adonai, only leave your flocks and your herds behind. Let your little ones go with you too. But Moshe said, You yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and ascending offerings to prepare for Adonai our Elohim. And your livestock are to go with us, too. Not a hoof is to be left behind, for we have to take some of them to serve Adonai our Elohim, and we ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Adonai until we come there. However, Adonai strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, Get away from me, watch yourself and see my face no more, for in the day you see my face you die. And Moshe said, You have spoken rightly, never again do I see your face. And Adonai said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Adonai gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrayites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moshe said, Thus said Adonai, About midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant, who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, such as has never been or ever shall be again. But against any of the children of Israel no dog shall move its tongue, against man or against beast, so that you know that Adonai makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all the people at your feet. And after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Adonai said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Adonai strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. And Adonai spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, This new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire, with unleavened bread, and bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave of it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach of Adonai. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast. and on the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Adonai. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you. And let the plague not come on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Adonai throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whomever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set-apart gathering, and on the 7th day you have a set-apart gathering. No work at all is done on them, only that which is eaten by every being, and that alone is prepared by you. And you shall guard the festival of Matzot, for the same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mitzrayim, and you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon, in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses. For if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether sojourner or native of the land. Do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go out and take lambs for yourselves, according to your clans, and slay the Pesach. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin. And you, none of you, shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And Adonai shall pass on to smite the Mitzrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the 2 doorposts. And Adonai shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be, when you come to the land which Adonai gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be, when your children say to you, What does the service mean to you? Then you shall say, It is the Pesach slaughtering of Adonai, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. And the children of Israel went away and did so. And Adonai had commanded Moshe and Aaron. So they did. And it came to be at midnight that Adonai struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on his throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants, and all the Mitzrites. And there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a household where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night, and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go serve Adonai, as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and go. Then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrites were strong on the people, to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, We are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe, and they had asked from the Mitzrites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. And Adonai gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. And the children of Israel set out from Ramses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones. And a mixed multitude went up with them too. also flocks and herds, very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, and had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel, who lived in Mitzrayim, was 430 years. And it came to be, at the end of the 430 years, on that same day it came to be, that all the divisions of Adonai went out from the land of Mitzrayim. It is a night of watches unto Adonai, for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Adonai, for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. And Adonai said to Moshe and Aaron, This is the law of the Pesach. No son of a stranger is to eat of it, but any servant a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a stranger sojourns with you, and shall perform the Pesach to Adonai, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it, and he shall be as a native of the land, but let no uncircumcised eat of it. There is one Torah for the native born, and for the stranger who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Adonai commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be, on that same day that Adonai brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, according to their divisions. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe, saying, Set apart to me all the firstborn, the one opening the womb among the children of Israel, among man and among beast, it is mine. And Moshe said to the people, Remember this day in which you went out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. For by strength of hand Adonai brought you out of this place, and whatever is leavened shall not be eaten. Day you are going out in the new moon Aviv, and it shall be, when Adonai brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this new moon. 7 days you eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day is a festival to Adonai. Unleavened bread is to be eaten the 7 days, and whatever is leavened is not to be seen with you, and leaven is not to be seen with you within all your border. And you shall inform your son in that day, saying, It is because of what Adonai did for me when I came up from Mitzrayim. And it shall be as a sign to you on your hand, and as a reminder between your eyes, that the Torah of Adonai is to be in your mouth. For with a strong hand Adonai has brought you out of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard this law at its appointed time from year to year. And it shall be, when Adonai brings you into the land of the Kenites, as he swore to you and your fathers, and gives it to you, that you shall give over to Adonai every one opening the womb, and every firstborn that comes from your livestock. The males belong to Adonai. But every firstborn of a donkey you are to ransom with a lamb, and if you do not ransom it, then you shall break its neck. And every firstborn of man among your sons you are to ransom. And it shall be, when your son asks you in the time to come, saying, What is this? Then you shall say to him, By strength of hand Adonai brought us out of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. And it came to be, when Pharaoh was too hardened to let us go, that Adonai killed every firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I am slaughtering to Adonai every male that open the womb, but every firstborn of my sons I ransom. And it shall be as a sign on your hand, and as a frontlets between your eyes, for by strength of hand Adonai brought us out of Mitzrayim. Jeremiah 46, verse 13 to 28. The word which Adonai spoke to Jeremiah, the prophet, about the coming of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, to strike the land of Mitzrayim. Declare in Mitzrayim, and let it be heard in Migdol, and let it be heard in Nob, and in Tachpanches. Say, stand fast, and be prepared, for a sword shall devour all around you. Why were you strong ones swept away? They did not stand because Adonai drove them away. He made many stumble. Indeed, they fell over each other, and said, Arise, let us go back to our own people, and to the land of our birth, away from the oppressing sword. There they cried, Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, is but a noise. He has let the appointed times pass by. As I live, declares the sovereign, whose name is Adonai of hosts. For as Darfur is among the mountains, and as Carmel by the sea, he shall come. O you daughter dwelling in Mitzrayim, prepare yourselves to go into exile. For Nob shall come, a waste and a ruin, and be burned without inhabitant. Mitzrayim is like a very pretty heifer, but destruction comes. It comes from the north. Her hired ones too, in her midst, are like fattened calves, for they too shall turn. They shall flee away together. They shall not stand, for the day of their calamity has come upon them, the time of their punishment. Its sound moves along like a serpent, for they move on like an army, and come against her with axes like woodcutters. They shall cut down her forests, declares Adonai, for it is not searched, because they are more numerous than locusts, and without number. The daughter of Mitzrayim shall be put to shame. She shall be given into the hand of the people of the north. Adonai of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, has said, See, I am bringing punishment on Ammon of Nob, and on Pharaoh, and on Mitzrayim, and on their mighty ones, and on their sovereigns, and on Pharaoh, and on those trusting in him. And I shall give them into the hand of those who seek their lives, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and into the hand of his servants. And afterward it shall be inhabited as in the days of old, declares Adonai. But as for you, do not fear, O my servant, Yaakov, and do not be discouraged, O Israel, for look, I am saving you from afar, and your descendants from the land of their captivity. And Yaakov shall return, and shall have rest and be at ease, with no one disturbing. Do not fear, O Yaakov, my servant, declares Adonai, for I am with you. Though I make a complete end of all the nations to which I have driven you, yet I do not make a complete end of you. But I shall reprove you in right ruling, and by no means leave you unpunished. John 19, verse 31 to 37. Therefore, since it was the preparation day, that the body should not remain on the stake on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high one, the Yehudim asked Pilate to have their legs broken, and that they be taken away. Therefore the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first, and of the other who was impaled with him. But when they came to Yeshua, and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and instantly blood and water came out. And he who has seen has witnessed, and his witness is true, and he knows that he is speaking the truth, in order that you might believe. For this took place in order for the scriptures to be filled. Not one of his bones shall be broken. And again, another scripture says, "They shall look on him whom they pierced."